Whitney, preach it for me. He said, listen, don't do it. Don't do it. You getting ready to lose everything if you try to sail this way. Don't do it. But the man who owned the boat and the ship, man, this is my boat, my ship. I knew what I'm doing. We got this. Paul don't know nothing. Paul a preacher. Paul don't know nothing about this life. This is what I do. Y'all know how this is what I do. I'm always going to these seas and these oceans. All right. Commander went with the boat. The person who owned it, on the captain. Y'all guess what happened? What Paul said was going to happen. What happened? A great storm came out. And see, first it tricked them because the wind was a little okay. And then a northern wind came. It shook that boat every which way was loose. The same way that we think 2023 did us. Shook us every which way. We just like, turn me loose. But that goes from not what? Listening to wise counsel. And that's what the Lord got me about. Because he's like, you could have prevented. You crying about the storm. You crying about the rain. You crying about all this wind. But had you listened, Jesus. Is he looking? Is he looking at me? Is anybody over there looking at me? Is either one of them looking over here right now? Oh, Lord. They're looking right at me. Had you listened to wise counsel, how many storms could have been avoided, Jesus? How many tears we could have saved, saints? How many jobs we could have kept? How many businesses we could have started? How many sicknesses we could have avoided when they be fussing at you about drinking the water and all that? I heard you this morning, Deaconess Cook. You know what I'm saying? If we just listen to wise counsel. But a caveat to the story. Somebody say, thank God for mercy and grace. Won't he do it? Won't he will? Because an angel came to Paul and told Paul that they was going to make it to their destination. So Paul said, even though I said all was going to be destroyed, the Lord let me know we're going to lose the ship, but your life going to be saved. Some stuff around you may perish, but your life going to be saved. That's God's grace and mercy in action. Because even when I make the wrong mistakes and the wrong choices, now I got to pay for that. So the ship going to break apart. But my life is going to be saved. My mind is going to be kept. My soul is going to be kept. Because God gave us mercy and grace. And Paul began to tell him, say, listen, I know what the atmosphere is saying, but the key thing he said is, I believe God. So I don't care what's going on as things start to fall apart around you. You have to remember the word that God gave and say, God, I believe what you said. All the elements around me are telling me something different, but God, I believe what you said. The reason why I knew I would recover, and y'all know I'm transparent too, like my sister. The reason I knew I was going to recover because he already said it. It was in the prophetic connection. He said, this is the year of recovery. He said, this is the year of opportunity. This is the year of the trendsetter. So when everything started falling apart and the winds were wrecking, I said, I believe God through my man of God. And he already said before, and you know what make it so good? I'm trying not to get excited. How he going to release recovery ahead of time knowing I was going to need it? How? That's the kind of God that we serve. It went over my head. I said, God, you already told me when the time he released that word, I was dancing. I ain't needed no recovery, but I was praising him in advance. I had no idea why I'm praising for everybody else for the recovery that they need. He like, girl, you praising, but you gonna need that yourself. You dance on, my sis, because you started up that praise, because you gonna need that recovery. Had no clue. I had no clue. Life was perfect. Had no clue. But he went ahead of my storm and said, when things fall apart and you feel like your life is shattered and you don't know how you're going, I already told you, recovery is already waiting on you. All you have to do is just walk through the process because it's recovery on the other side. So 2023, yeah, it was life, and yeah, you might have lost some things. Yeah, your heart may have been broken, but listen, it's recovery on the other side. And this is why we have to be that light that I read about. Because light shines brightest in darkness. And it's so much dark times, and people are looking for hope, and people are desperate for answers, and people just want the pain to end. And we have to tell them, listen, I know the pain is real. I felt it. But I can tell you it's life after this. I know you feel like you're going to lose your mind. I know you feel like it. Because, honey, I believe God. I was rocking in the corner right along with you, but listen, at some point, you have to come to yourself. You better preach over there for me. The musician, the organist said you should live and not die. That's when the words start rehearsing up out of your spirit. You be thinking, will I just sit here and die? Will I just sit here? It's like, no. Because I know there's a promise on the other side of this. It's something greater on the other side of this. And so I have to persevere and I have to press through. Paul said, get it how you can get it. Those of y'all can swim, y'all jump into the water and y'all get it. Y'all can't swim, grab a board and float on. Listen, I came to tell you the same thing. We may not be in the same levels of faith, but get it how you can get it. Your job is to get to the other side. However you can get it. Listen, if all you can say is, Lord, save me, he responded to that. Peter will tell you that. Sometimes you don't have an elaborate prayer or words that you can give. You can just say, it's me, oh Lord, or maybe it's just the tears in your eyes. But listen, he answers and he responds. He always will respond. And you have to know that he will never, ever leave you.